I am the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. I recently bought a wraithknight for the eldar, and it's put together enough that I feel pretty confident putting it through the gauntlet. I have a street, and I have various factions, one at a time, go after the wraithknight in an ambush situation, and try and destroy it. This is my Triarch Stalker. After the arms broke off for the 8th or ninth time, I finally just stopped gluing them back on, but these things really are dope for Necron vehicles, but either way. This is the street that the wraithknight has to make it down. Starts here, ends up 4 feet over there. He just has to survive the experience. This is the wraithknight that'll be making the trip 3 times. I certainly hope that he survives. So this is the Night Lord contingent that will be doing their best to ambush him. We'll have a Master of Possession who knows Infernal Gaze and Smite. 2 5-man groups of Chaos Space Marines. The Aspiring Champion with the Power Fist has a Heavy Bolter. And the Aspiring Champion with the Chain Axe has a Autocannon. 2 Obliterators in the same grouping, and then a Venom Crawler. And then after those guys make their attempt, this Orc grouping will try theirs. We'll have a Orc Weird Boy who knows Smite and the Fists of Mork. A group of commandos with a whole lot of things, including a burner, a breacher, a rocket launcher, a big shooter. Crazy stuff. A Death Dread with 2 Dreadclaws and 2 Scorches. And then a mech gun with a bubble chucker. I have hopes for this grouping. And then a Necron contingent. So over here we'll have one of the new overlords, but he'll still have the void scythe. 2 5-man units of immortals armed with Tesla carbines. A Locust Heavy Destroyer with a Gauss Destructor, and an Annihilation Barge with a Gauss Cannon. So best of luck to the 3 of them. I'm going to set up the Night Lords, and we'll start this happy experiment. So we have our wraithknight at his starting position. Master of Possessions is up here on the top, just kind of looking over things. Heavy Bolter Squad at the top here. The Venom Crawler at the end here between the buildings. 2 Obliterators around the top one there, and then the Autocannon Squad in the far corner building. So the wraithknight gets to go first. It'll do movement, it'll skip over the Night Lords, and it'll start their ambush. So, Eldar movement. So for being an oblivious Eldar, he moves his 12 inches, and that makes it the Night Lord's turn. No movement, but the Master of Possessions will do some psychics. The Master of Possessions was able to manifest Smite, doing a couple points of damage to the wraithknight. So now the Night Lord shooting phase. This is a long sigh of suffering. My friends have heard it before, and they know it, and they hear it, so looking back on it, I should have put the Shatter Shield on this guy, because his 3-up save without an invuln is definitely screwing him over. Because the Obliterators did 9 points of damage to him alone. He's down to 6. Heavy Bolter did some damage, the Autocannon got through, even the weapon from the Venom Crawler made it in. So he's definitely hurting real bad, but it is his turn. Yeah, Eldar. So with only 6 health, this guy only has, he's at his last bracket. He only moves 8. He did. He's definitely going to shoot and try and kill these things so that they can't mess him up either. He's got a lot of weapons to do that with, so hopefully I get some justification for making this guy a big tank thing without being able to actually tank. So he shot everything he had at the Obliterators. Star Cannon, Sun Cannon, Heavy Wraith Cannon, Shuriken Cannon, and only managed to do 3 damage to one of them. Because he's super bracketed and only hits on a 5, so That was super terrible, and he's probably going to die this turn because now it's the Night Lord's turn. None of them are going to move, but we're definitely going to have this guy try and smite this thing. So the Master of Possession did get its smite off, and it did 2 points of damage to this guy, so now he's down to 4. And it's chaos shooting. I predict he's going to die this turn, but anything's possible. The chaos dice could start to suck. The Drukhari dice could start to not suck. I don't know. Okay, so that was super, super crazy. The Obliterators, with their weird D3 plus to things, killed off the wraithknight. And let's be fair, they did most of the damage to it the first round too, so... Okay, I guess that means I gotta buy another wraithknight and put a shadow shield on that one. Yay. Yeah, Night Lord's definitely destroyed it. So we'll reset and do this with the orcs. Okay, so the Death Dread is here between the alley. The commandos are on the second floor there, most of them peeking out the window. The mech gun, Bubble Chugga, is on the third floor, having been lifted there by some friendly death copters. And the weird boy is on this side, all alone in this little street alley thing here. Wraith Knight's gonna make his 12-inch move and we'll start the happiness. So its 12-inch move puts it directly across from the Death Dread, so this will be an interesting experience for the orcs anyway. So orc, no movement. We'll do a psychic phase for the weird boy down there. So the weird boy failed to manifest smite. So that'll take us to the shooting phase. So yeah, orcs suck super bad at shooting things. That'll make it the Eldar turn. So the Wraith Knight went down another 12 inches, and now it is going to shoot at the dudes that dared to shoot at it. So the Wraith Knight shot everything it had. It did manage to wound the Bubble Chugga with its heavy Wraith Cannon, and it killed 2 of the commandos with the Shuriken Cannon, but everything else pretty much failed to wound. So that'll make it the orc turn again. Movements. Yeah, some people are going to have to move. The Death Dread came out of its little spot to presumably chase this guy down and just shoot him with its Scorcher. The Weird Boy will try and manifest Smite. The Weird Boy managed to manifest Smite this time and do a couple points of damage to the Wraith Knight. So we'll go into the orc shooting phase. Well, these guys, I had hopes that with how well the Night Lords had done, these guys would do better, but I forgot. Orcs pretty much only hit on a 5 with a gun, so the Scorcher managed to do a point of damage, but everybody else missed. So it'll go back to the Eldar. Movement. So the Wraith Knight has most of its health, so he's not bracketed, so he just goes as regular 12. And then he's going to shoot at some awesome stuff. So the Wraith Knight pumped a lot of shots into the Death Dread, getting it down to 1 health but not killing it. And then he also killed a couple of commandos. So that'll make it the orc turn, and they need to kill it this turn somehow. Movement for this Death Dread then. So the Weird Boy and the Death Dread both advanced up to try and keep in range of the Wraith Knight. And the commandos have just hopped out of the building here. Bubble Chugga, Mech Gun will just stay where it's at. Psychic phase. Gonna try and smite it again. And the Weird Boy does get the smite off and does it for 3 points of damage. So they got him down to 18 at least so far. Orc shooting. So everybody shot everything they had at the Wraith Knight, and the Death Dread did a couple points of damage with its Scorcher, but that was about it. So it'll be the Wraith Knight's turn to move, and it'll make it to the end of the board, and that'll be it. So the Wraith Knight wins against the orcs. If orcs had better than a 5-up ballistic skill, they'd probably be a lot more dangerous. But since they can't really charge in this particular aspect, yeah. So the wraithknight's 1-for-1 so far, but now it's the necrons, so I'll reset the board and we'll start that one. So there's a group of immortals in this building overlooking the street. Heavy destroyer up top here. The annihilation barge is in this alleyway. The other squad of immortals is on the second floor of this building, and the overlord is next to them. His only purpose in life is to give them my will be done, so wraithknight is back here at the start, so we'll do his little movement thingy and then start the shooting. Okay, he's moved his 12 inches up, and now it's the necron's turn. No movement, no Catan, so just lots and lots of shooting. So not a terrible round of shooting. The immortals all failed to wound, but the heavy destroyer got it for about 3 points, and then the annihilation barge got it for some more. All told, they did 6 damage to it that turn, so that'll make it the wraithknight's turn to move, shoot back. So he's moved up here to the halfway point, and we'll get into him shooting some guys. Maybe he can do more than he did to the orks. Alright, so the wraith cannon did a lot of damage-ish. I mean, he did a point of damage to the heavy destroyer. He did some damage to the annihilation barge, but the immortals all somehow managed to save. I don't know. So that'll make it the necron turn. There'll be a unit that moves. And the annihilation barge just moved out of the alley, so it could also shoot the wraithknight in the back. So the immortals were kind of ineffective against this thing, but the gauss cannon did a bunch of damage, and the locust heavy destroyer did a bunch of damage. So it's down to 9, and it's in its second bracket. It is its turn, so wraithknight movement. The wraithknight moved 10 inches closer to the edge of the table in its freedom. Hopefully it can shoot some of these attackers and make it to the end without further incident. So the wraithknight pretty much dumped everything it had into the annihilation barge, and then it dumped its sun cannon into the locust heavy destroyer, killing it. It has a better chance of survival now. Unfortunately, that makes it the necron turn. There will be one group moving, so the immortals and their +1 to hit generator just hopped out of the building here. But that'll make it the necron shooting phase, so yeah, that was super ridiculous. Pretty much everything hit it. Most everything wounded it. It didn't make a lot of saves. The annihilation barge definitely did about 8 damage to it. It's down to 3 now, so it's the wraith knight's turn. Yeah, so movement. The whole happy 8 inches. Okay, the wraith knight has moved its 8 inches, and if it survives this next necron phase, then it'll probably survive. We'll do the wraith knight shooting first. So with only 3 health and a 5 up to hit, it dumped everything it had into the annihilation barge and did 2 points of damage to it with a shuriken cannon. Alright, so that'll make it the movement for the necrons. Yeah, they're not going to move. They're all within range, so we'll just go straight into shooting the necrons. The immortals on the right here with their little overlord dude did manage to do the last 3 points of damage needed to kill the wraith knight, and it exploded in a nice big fiery explosion. Yeah, so necrons can still pretty much kill everything that goes through the gauntlet. Orks still pretty much suck because they suck at shooting, and Night Lords can occasionally pull it off sometimes. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate you watching. I will always have weird little silly ideas like this, and I do like the idea of putting my Titanics or my friends' Titanics or Lords of War or whatever through my little gauntlet system here, because I think it's interesting. Necrons pretty much win every time. Orks pretty much lose every time. Night Lords are hit and miss. Thanks for watching and have a happy day.